Lightyear, Pixar's newest animated movie, which if you've seen Toy Story before, you know who Buzz Lightyear is. So this is the movie that Andy saw when he was a little kid that made him love Buzz Lightyear, and that's why he gets that toy or the Buzz Lightyear toy in his first birthday because a big fan of this movie and Buzz Lightyear because of it. So it's kind of like a weird meta thing, but this movie has a simple plot. Well, it's a little bit complicated if you go into spoilers, but it's a very simple plot. Buzz Lightyear is a space ranger. Him and his partner Hawthorne and there's another space ranger. They're taking a bunch of scientists back to Earth. I believe they're going back to Earth at least. And while they're traveling through hyperspace, their computer senses an unknown planet that might be habitable. So they end up going out of hyperspace to go check it out. And when they go to the planet, they accidentally crash the spaceship because of these plants that are attacking them, and they become marooned there because of Buzz. Because when the plants are attacking them, they try to take off, and Buzz is just not accepting any help from anyone. So he accidentally makes them crash there. So they try to create new hyperfuels so they can travel back to planet Earth, and Buzz essentially is the one testing the new fuel to make sure it works properly. So that's the base outline of the story without going into major spoilers. Because I remember watching a few of the trailers and they don't really go into a lot of spoilers. So I don't want to spoil it. So I'll talk about spoilers later. Spoilers. I'll give a warning. Anyway, this movie is it's really good. I enjoyed it. It's not as good as the Toy Story movies, in my opinion, but it's still it's a good, solid Pixar movie. Pixar is usually really good with their movies. There's a few that are low ranked, but they're still decent movies. I don't think they've made a bad movie, and this is definitely not a bad movie. There's a lot of good depth for Buzz Lightyear as he grows as a character as the movie goes along. And there's some really good lessons. Like I said, in the beginning of the movie, he's a person who doesn't really like to work as a team or get help. But by the end of it, his journey, he grows as a character and he likes accepting help. So there's a lot of things that I mainly want to talk about in spoilers. I do recommend watching this movie if you're a Toy Story fan or if you're an animation fan. Pixar fan, I think you will enjoy it and get something out of it. Especially if you're a hardcore Toy Story fan. There's little Easter eggs and callbacks from the Toy Story movies that are fun that you're quick to point out. I don't think they take you out of the movie, but it's fun to see those. So, like I said, if you're a big fan of animation and Toy Story, you're really gonna love this movie. I give it a 7 out of 10. Like I said, it's a good movie. It's not one of Pixar's best. Like I said, even putting it in with the other 4 Toy Story movies, it's on the bottom of the other 4 they're better in my opinion, but they're different movies. This is more of an action comedy, and those are, they're more comedic, interesting, adventure movies, depending on the movie you watch. So yeah, I give it a 7 out of 10. So I want to talk spoilers because I really think you can't talk about this movie in depth without going into spoilers. Because it really depends on this. A lot of the stuff you learn is through spoilers, in my opinion. Because I don't think the trailers give away too much. So 1, 2, 3 spoilers. Get out of here. If you haven't seen the movie, go watch it. So like I said, they crash land on this planet because of Buzz, and they start using testing out new hyperfuel. But every time they use it, time passes quickly on the planet, but not for Buzz. So he goes out to space to test this fuel for 4 minutes, and 4 years pass back on the planet because he's going so fast. So he keeps testing it, and then, and time keeps passing there. And we see it through his partner, Hawthorne. I believe her name was Hawthorne, her last name. But yeah, we see as time passes by, she slowly ages, she becomes pregnant, she has her kid with her family, she ends up getting married and everything. So a lot of time passes, and then she ends up passing away eventually because Buzz is, constantly 4 years. So it's over a course of a week for him or something like that. But it's been, decades, or not decades, but it's been several years for the rest of the people on this planet. And eventually, they get a new because his friend becomes the commander, and eventually after she passes away, they get a new commander, and he's just like, well, we decided to stay on this planet because it's been so long for these people that they're just like, okay, we're gonna stay here. You know, we've gotten used to it, and a lot of the people there have been born on that planet. They have memories, they have lives there, so they're not really super excited to get back to planet Earth, which they've never even seen or been a part of, which kind of makes sense. But for Buzz, like I said, it hasn't been that long. It's been like a week or so since they crash landed on that. Or well, actually, it's been over a year because it took a year to set everything up. But it's been a week since I believe about a week since they started testing out everything. But to him, it's still just like he still has that motivation and that promise that, hey, we're gonna get everyone back to Earth. But by now, most of the people he knew have already passed away, and you know, all the people who are living there, they've been living there for a long time. That is their planet. You know, they've gotten used to it more or less. But Buzz is upset about this. He has this pet robot named Socks. It's a cat, who in the beginning of the movie is given to him so he can decompress and speak to it and everything like that. But he gives it a mission in the beginning of the movie. He's like, okay, well, if you want something to do, figure out this fuel dilemma we're having. And the cat's like, okay. And Buzz and the audience probably think that the cat's not going to do it, but after so many years, the cat actually does it. He invents the fuel. But he does it when they cancel the program. Because, like I said, the people living there don't care about leaving the planet anymore, so they don't want the hyperfuel. So Buzz steals the formula, or he creates it, and he steals it, and he takes a plane, and he leaves. But it works, but it travels him 22 years into the future. So a lot more time has passed. So now when he comes to the planet, it's being attacked by Zurg and his evil robots. So he's very confused, but he meets Hawthorne's granddaughter and a bunch of other ragtag people who are trying to take down Zurg's spaceship to help the people, because all the other people are barricaded in the city with a big force field around it. So Buzz reluctantly teams up with them. At first he doesn't. He's just like, well, I can do this on my own. But he slowly has to take them because of certain events. And as the movie goes on, he begins to appreciate them, and they start working as a team. And he starts learning the benefits of teammates. And eventually we learn that Zurg is future Buzz Lightyear. He's a Buzz Lightyear who, when he created the formula and he crash landed on a planet, they arrested him, or they were about to arrest him for stealing the spaceship. So he takes off into the future and just flies as fast and far as he can. So he travels super far into the future. And he ends up finding the spaceship in the Zurg robot armor, and he becomes Zurg, and he ends up, or he thinks, he's like, if I can use this to travel to the future, I can also travel back in time. So he travels back in time to the current period to get more formulas, to go all the way back to prevent the accident he caused. But by this point, our Buzz Lightyear has learned that why the people are happy here, because he's upset that his partner, Hawthorne, and I'm hoping I'm saying her name right, if I remember it correctly, but he thinks that she wasted her life there, but her granddaughter's like, she didn't waste her life here. She had a life here. You know, she fell in love, she got married, she had a kid, she had grandchildren, she had it all. You know, she lived her life here. And that's the difference between her and Buzz. While Buzz was going on these missions, he didn't have a life. He was missing everything, while everyone on the planet was living their lives. And, you know, at first they hated it there, but eventually, you know, it became their home, which is something Buzz didn't understand until he was told. And I really like this message. It's one of the big points of this movie, that, you know, you can't just super hyper focus on something because you're going to miss life. And then, you know, it's always important to have goals, but it's not important to obsess about them. I guess that's the message. Anyway, they ended up defeating Zurg, and the new colonel person, commander of the planet or whatever, decides to restart their Space Ranger program. So Buzz, you know, becomes the leader, and he decides that his crew is going to be the people who helped them out in this journey. And the movie ends with them taking off into space to find a threat. And there is a post-credit scene. There's two. One's a comedic one in the middle, and one all the way to the end kind of teases a second movie with Zurg still out there in space, just floating there. But it's a good movie. This movie is not perfect though. It is flawed. The whole thing with Buzz not working good with others didn't make complete sense to me because, like I said, his best friend was Hawthorne, and he even says in the movies like we were so close and united that we could finish each other's sentences. So it didn't make sense to me that he didn't really like working with other people because it's just like you have a partner. Like it wasn't like this is the first time you work with other people. You've done it before and you like working with your best friend. So that aspect didn't make complete sense. There's like a few inconsistencies in this movie, I would say, that were just kind of like, and you can gloss over them, and it's not a huge deal. But like I said, something like that, it's just like it's the main point of this movie, but it's just like it also doesn't make complete sense. So stuff like that really hold back the movie. I really like the characters. I think Socks the cat is the breakout star of this movie. He's hilarious and amazing, and he's just not like a dumb comic relief character. He's a really useful comic relief character. But overall, like I said, fantastic movie. I did enjoy it. If you're a big fan of Toy Story, you'll enjoy this movie, I think. Or if you really love Buzz, I think you'll like it. Like I said, not perfect. It has its flaws, and we can probably nitpick a lot more things, but it's a great movie. It's definitely a 7 out of 10, which makes it a solid, fun movie to go watch. Like I said, if you haven't seen it, go watch it. So that's it for this review. Like I said, solid 7 out of 10 movie. Really enjoyed it. Not Pixar's best. It's probably low middle movie for me in the Pixar chain, but I mean most of Pixar movies are amazing, so that's not really saying it's a bad movie. Just when you compare it to a bunch of grade A movies and it's like a B plus movie, it's still a good movie, just not an A plus or A movie. So if you watched this movie, what did you think? Did you like it? Did you hate it? Would you like a sequel? Would you like them to do more movies based on Toy Story characters like Woody? I kind of thought that maybe since this movie had time travel, that it would end up with Buzz traveling back in time, being stuck in the Wild Wild West. Maybe after the second one, I guess we'll see. Like I said, let me know in the comments below. Thank you for watching, like and subscribe, and I will catch you in the next one. Peace out.